Okay, here we're going live. You ready?
Yeah, I am.
Hello, 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 hello. We're here today with another rendition of the Big Dog Little Dog podcast, number 6 of the series so far. We got our host, Big Dog at Akahi Trotsky, and our other host, Little Dog at Ala Trosk. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on
Mhm.
Instagram at Big Dog underscore Little Dog. And we're excited today because this is kind of our jumping off point, right? So this is our last episode of the season. We'll pick it back up again in March, and in March we're going to be launching a full-fledged production. Full-fledged production. We're going to have some interns doing video production, paid, of course. We're going to have some makeup artists, some YouTube workers, and it's just going to be awesome. And we're gonna try to launch a podcast on Apple Music, Spotify, all the various things. We're gonna have some guests. We're gonna have some interactive activities like giveaways and you know meeting with the hosts and stuff like that. And we're gonna have some sponsors as well. So hopefully we can just come out together and have a great time. Discussing the Seahawks, discussing football, discussing the NBA, discussing the off season, and that's all coming mid March. So that's our plan. It's going to be incremental, but we're going to start up another season in March, go through a couple months, lead up to the NBA and the off season. Then we're going to take a little break before the NFL really kicks off again. So look forward to that. Look forward to a potential blog coming out. Look forward to the Instagram ramping up, the socials ramping up. And we got some good stuff coming down. So that's all I want to say. We're going to be a quicker episode today. There's not much to talk about. I mean, there's a lot going on, but there's not much to talk about.
Mm, yeah.
So, Ollie, you got anything to say on that?
No, no, I'm excited to be part of it. I'm excited for you guys to be part of it. I'm ready to expand our world. Big Dog, Little Dog universe will increase. Guaranteed, guaranteed.
Absolutely. And if any of you guys are watching this, which I know many people aren't right now, hopefully you guys watch this later. But if you are watching this, let us know if you guys want to be a part of this. We need some writers. We need some people who are interested in production. We need some people who can help build, out the social media and grab engagement from the audience. So yeah, it's some cool stuff down the pipeline. Let's kind of progress on. We got some cool things to talk about. Obviously, it is
Talking
Super
football.
Bowl weekend this week, so that is very exciting. Um, but there's also been some big news in the Seahawks realm, the smaller Seahawks realm, and that is the Seahawks finally hired. I believe this was last Thursday. They finally hired an offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, from
Hmm.
the Rams, the Los Angeles Rams, passing game coordinator. We stole, and I believe it was their assistant offensive line coach Andy Dickerson, who will be our run game coordinator, whose position was formerly held by I believe it was Nate Carroll. So yeah, very exciting, very exciting.
Hey, Carol, who is now coaching,
He is
hosting, and
coaching for Arizona.
yep.
So first impressions of Shane Waldron is he kind of seems like super mellow, but also super smart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's got an intensity to him. He's got certain concepts that you talked about in the press conference. He's a pretty simple guy,
I like
basic
that.
off, but he's pretty clear about what he wants to do. But he's like you said, he's mellow. He's not a hype guy. He's more of a tactician, which is what we need. Definitely what we need.
Completely
I'm
agree.
glad. Yeah, first initial thought on the signing is a yes for me, and I
Yeah.
think you.
I think you got Pete. You already got Pete, the oldest, the 70-year-old hype man. You don't need another hype man. You got enough hype in that locker room. What we need is a tactician.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And one thing that about Pete that I think is very positive is that he said that Shane it's gonna be Shane's offense, and we were worried going into the
Oh,
choosing a
100%.
one that he could just control and do what he wants. But it seems that he's giving full control to Shane, which is really good because he's got a nice offense. I'm excited to see him as a play caller. First time in his career he'll be a play caller.
Yeah, I know. Me too. It's his first time, but let's remember he's still pretty young. He's 41, and you kind of
Hmm.
see. A lot of these coaches who become great play callers, obviously you start somewhere. Usually they start following his kind of path where you're a QB coach and then maybe a passing game coordinator, and then you progress to that OC level. So I think there's a lot of ways to look at it. I think you can be very excited because he's with the Rams. They've obviously had pretty successful offenses, and he's a passing game coordinator. He obviously likes to pass. Um, But then, you can also be negative about it. You could say he's never called plays. He doesn't really know what's going on in terms of calling plays and running his whole offense. He's young, but we'll really never know until
Yeah,
um,
and another one of those
the next
negatives
seven
is
months.
the line, which we gotta talk about. The a lot of outside run game is what the Rams are built on. A lot of movement on the line, and our current line. Looking at our last season's roster, obviously a lot of those guys are not on contract anymore. Isn't really fit to do that, and our star rookie is not. He's not a guy that's slow. He's no DJ Fluker from back in the day, but there's definitely gonna need be some overhaul in the offensive line, most likely with this signing.
Yeah, he's not a DJ Fluker, but he is like a bulldozer. He's slow,
He's
but
not.
we got a. I think a big position for that is a center. I always think of like fast guys like Jason Kelsey or even guys like Alex Mack, and these guys are so athletic in space that if we can start from the center and get some speed there, I think we can run any kind of scheme we want.
Mm.
But now let's jump in a little game here. I got some quotes from Shane Shane Waldron's press conferences. These are kind of paraphrased, but I want to hear your thoughts. I want you to give me up or down. Like or dislike, yes or no on your thoughts about these quotes. So first one, he said, balanced but not conservative. Up or
Yeah,
down?
I give that an up. I think balance is talking about a lot of people were frustrated this season, the fans specifically. I think it has a little blown out of proportion saying that we were imbalanced, passing too much. I think we were pretty good, but I think this is what he wants. And at the end, the season, you could tell that maybe we shouldn't have been passing and going five wide on first down. Especially when we had Chris Carson back and healthy, we could have run more, taken advantage of play action, been more successful against the two deep safety look. Maybe even helped our pass pro a little bit because that definitely struggled because of the amount of times we were passing. So I think that's definitely a win. And conservative, we don't want to be conservative. Russell Wilson has never been really conservative with the ball, and I think
Maybe
he,
not.
he
Maybe in these last 8 weeks, though, he might have been. Some might
yeah,
argue.
so he was tentative to throw sometimes because of maybe the media and the narrative. But I think it's a new start, and I think this could be big. And I like the idea of balancing conservative. How
Russell
about
Wilson
you?
kind of felt like a conservative investor these last 8 weeks, but we want more of a, to the moon
Yeah, so
investor.
we won the first 8 weeks.
We want that
Russell
moon ball. You know what I mean?
conservative, yes.
Exactly. So I think I also agree. I think it's quite the upper balance, but not conservative. I think balance is something that's been underrated with all this hype about passing. I mean, you need to be able to run the ball on 4th and 1, unless you have Tyreek Hill. So I think it's pretty big. The next quote: philosophical alignment in regards to Pete and his
Yeah.
philosophies.
So this is an interesting one because obviously the reason we split ways with Schottenheimer was a big thing about, and this cited by the Seahawks, philosophical differences is why
Exactly.
with him. So clearly, that's why we wanted to sign a new guy, and philosophical alignment was probably the biggest thing for the signing of Shane Waldron, and that's a little scary. It's not a huge positive for me. I think a lot of Pete Carroll's philosophical thoughts are about a little basic, and it's
A
scary
little
that we
conservative, you might say.
conservative for sure. But one thing he did say about philosophical alignment, he quoted this. He said it's all about the ball, which I agree. That's one thing that Pete Carroll's always been important about turnover differential, and that's a big deal. And I think if that's the philosophical alignment they're talking about, I'm all for it. I like controlling the ball, and I think Shane Waldron will be able to do that, especially since a lot of you can argue the Rams' offense has been really good at controlling the ball. If you minus Jared Goff, just take him out. A lot of them are errors on his own rather than scheme errors.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it is a little concerning. It almost felt like it was spoon-fed this answer, like the Seahawks cite philosophical differences in the parting of Brian Schottenheimer. Shane Waldron cites philosophical alignment in the hiring of his self for the offensive coordinator position. But it'll be curious to think. I think it's too early to make judgments. I think people who say one thing or the other might be right, but right now I really have no idea. It's all speculative. Um, so that's just something to keep in mind with all these new offseason plays. So one last quote for a little game. He said, "Analytics are a starting point for him." And to give some context, he was referring to fourth down situations, and will give him the initial feedback, and then from there he'll decide on the flow of the game. What does flow of the game really mean? That's something that uh, coaches think that people don't really understand, but I'd like to hear more about your opinion on that.
Yeah, I think it's both a positive and a negative. I think you look at it like you said, analytics. One thing that Pete doesn't like to do is listen to his analytics sometimes, not go for it on fourth down, and he might blame the fact that we've been unsuccessful on fourth down this season to not do it again, which is I think is a bad idea. But Shane, so if he's thinking about it from that standpoint, I think we should go for it more on fourth downs. And there was a couple opportunities late in the year where we weren't going for it on fourth down, especially in the last game. I think against the Rams, there was a fourth down, or a pretty short fourth down, pretty late in the game. We decided to punt the ball, and it's not. The flow of the game might have argued that was a smart decision, which is scary. And then the opposite point, it's like, what does he mean by that? Like, does that mean every time Pete's just going to be like, oh, our defense is playing good, don't do it, don't do it, and that's scary. So I would like him to be more analytical. I think it's good, but I think how much does he understand the flow of the game is a good question. I think Russ probably knows it more than he does, and I think Russ should be more involved in that part of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I think it's all speculative, but overall, I'm very excited for these hires. I think bringing in a guy like Shane Waldron and stealing him from the Rams is, we can't really do better than that. In the sense that there weren't many options, and we not only it was addition by subtraction, in the sense that we subtracted a contributor for our division rival, and hopefully he's an addition for us. Um, so any final thoughts in that matter? I think we kind of covered it pretty well, but any final thoughts?
We do have one question from Andrew Trosky. I think it's an interesting one. Do you think Shane's offense will improve postage? What I think,
Postage, he can't be improved.
be there. Yeah, I don't believe in postage coming back at all.
Fair
So
weather fans believing in postage still.
I think he's better than Akahi makes him out to be, but I have to say I don't think he will return to the Seattle Seahawks this
Yeah,
offseason.
I don't think Postage. I think Postage has a place in the league as a backup. I don't know if we're gonna give him money to sign. Maybe it might be a situation where Ifedi where no one signs him and we can sign it for like less than $1 million. In that case, I'm good with it. But I think we need to start somewhere new. I don't think. I mean, we used to run a heavy zone scheme with Tom Cable early on in the Bevel years. Um, Even early on, I think. Actually, I'm not sure if Postage was on the team then. Maybe he was a rookie. But he just he fits the scheme more, but he's just not good. That's the problem. He's just not good. So yeah, I don't think Postage really has a place. I hope he doesn't resign for more than $1 million, but we will cover that in our off-season charting. So, shall we move on to one of the biggest trades of it feels like every year now there's at least one or two blockbuster trades, and this is kind of a new thing, right? Like you
Yeah,
think about the history of you think about the history of trades and the history of Super Bowls and the history of the NFL. You don't see two first round picks being traded very often. And this past week we saw two first round picks, a third round pick, and Jared Goff traded for Matt Stafford. So it's clear that the Rams believe they're really one quarterback away, and there's a lot of discussion on whether that's actually something that can be said. Um, with accuracy because of the parity of the NFL and the lack of consistency year to year between players and teams. And to expect you to be one quarterback away one year and then the next year you get that quarterback, is everyone else playing well? I mean, they're going to lose some pieces. So overall, it's a fun trade, but is it a good trade? I think it's a great trade for the Lions. We'll see about the Rams.
Yeah, yeah. I think going back to your point about this new blockbuster trade, I think it's taken into account of like things from the NBA, and I think the NBA is a players' league. A lot of people say the NFL is a team league, but I think the NFL is turning into more of a players' league. You're looking at Matt Stafford; he forced his way out. These are players making the choices to move rather than teams moving on from
Yeah.
players. I
I
think
think in the
Deshaun.
NFL is a player driven league, though.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
now it is. I would
yeah.
say that back in the day it wasn't, and that's something that it's taken care. Like the NBA has always been a player-driven league. Once since like Michael Jordan has entered, they've had more power. They could do what they want. They can sign wherever they want. Will Chamberlain moved. He wanted to go to LA. He went to LA, and it's not the same in the NFL. A lot of the times you're going to be stuck where you are because the money is worse, and the so you get better money where you stay, and often the team with 53 guys is going to come to more value. But people are valuing players now, and they've taken control. And some players are more valuable than organizations at this point. Stafford, you could argue, has been better than the Lions have been, and Deshaun Watson is the only thing that's keeping that organization running in Houston. So it's exciting to see. Actually, I'm a big fan of the players
Yeah,
dictating.
and I mean, can you imagine, like, thinking from Matt Stafford's perspective, can you imagine being in Detroit, man? That place is, they got a lot of soul, but they don't got a lot of else. So I think
Yeah,
it'll be nice get out to Cali. The rumor is that Matt Stafford and Sean McVay were all in Cabo together. Sipping some margaritas on the beach, and they got together and like, hey, let's make this happen. And that's kind of the best way to do business. If you ask me, if I had friends in the league, I would want to go down to Cabo and make some
Cabo's where
deals.
everything happens, isn't it? Cabo's where everything happens in the NFL.
Yeah, so that was kind of a very important to the Seahawks because it kind of changes how we view those matchups. Because when I go into the Rams matchup, I'm like, hey, we got McVay, we got Aaron Donald, we got Jalen Ramsey, but then we, the Seahawks, got Jared Goof. We we have a chance there. He can always throw us a bone. He can always get us in the game.
Yeah, well, one thing I think that's interesting about the trade is that you would think the Rams would go more conservative with a guy that doesn't turn over the ball that much. And Matthew Stafford is not that guy.
True.
His first 7 years in the league are not. He's not passing volume wise. He's one of the best quarterbacks. Probably will be retired as one of the best quarterbacks to ever play. Just looking at passing yard numbers, passing touchdowns. But turnovers, he's got a lot. He makes a lot of boneheaded throws. He's got poor accuracy short. So the fit is not too. I don't see the fit very much from my perspective. I wouldn't have
Yeah, he's getting a lot of hype now. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like.
would have gone for someone like Stafford. I think he would have been much more effective in a different system. I don't know, more volatile passing offense.
Yeah, I think big perspective though, this is showing that McVay is really betting on himself because
Yeah,
he
for
straight
sure.
up believes that Goff is not the guy, and he thinks that they're that close where we can give up these assets, and it's just Goff holding us back. So it'll
Yeah,
be
as much as I hate Sean McVay, I would bet on him too. I
yeah.
still believe the Rams more with Matthew
I
Stafford and Jared
mean,
Goff.
look at him, dude. He's 34. He's looking great. He's in
Quality.
shape. He has a great job. Everyone loves him. I mean, but I will say this: if Matt Stafford does not do well next year, if the Rams don't do well, Sean McVay will be in the grinder, and so will Les Snead. Um, but that's
True.
something to follow. That is something to follow because they'll really be hampering their future. Um,
Yeah.
so I let's kind of move on there. There's some Deshaun Watson rumors we could address. I mean, what does this Matthew Stafford trade mean for Deshaun Watson? Does that up his price significantly? It's hard to say because Deshaun Watson is on contract for 4 years, but that's all speculation right now. I'm not sure what's going to happen to Deshaun. So let's kind of move down to the big game on Sunday. We have a question from Diego here. Boys, why is this Super Bowl going to be better than years past? Well, let me tell you why. It won't.
It won't
But,
be.
but, but, you could think about it from a different perspective right here. So let's see. Normally, when you have a Super Bowl, you got a lot of rich people. You got a lot of people who can go to this game because they can afford this game. They can take this time off to go to the Super Bowl. Go to a fancy venue with all their rich friends. But now the Super Bowl means something different because the people who are in the stands, these are health officials who have put time and effort into saving and helping other people's lives, right? And so you could say, wow, this is going to be kind of cool, a cool experience for them because it's not going to be your typical Super Bowl crowd, and that's something to keep track of. And then from the football perspective, we have, the battle of Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, stuff like that. There's a lot of talent on the field. It's a Super Bowl, so it'll be a good time as always.
I think interesting about the crowd is that people kind of forget, and the storyline that's gone under the radar is that this is a home game and the first ever home game in the Super Bowl. I mean, that's kind of crazy. I mean, what are the odds? The Buccaneers are the
Absolutely.
that's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. So maybe it'll be a Buccaneer crowd. Who knows? A little bit affected by it.
If I was a Buccaneer fan, I would set up a massive, massive tailgate around the stadium, and I would generate noise from outside of the stadium that could be heard from within the stadium, and that would be unfair. But who knows? Um, and so before we dive further in, Ryan Lowenstein asked us a question: how much should the 49ers give up for Deshaun Watson? And let me tell you this, Ryan. The 49ers absolutely should not get Deshaun Watson, but if they do, they should. It's not about how much they should give up; it's how much they're willing to give up because he is going to cost them um, way more than Matthew Stafford. If I had to guess, all what do you think? 4 first-round picks minimum plus Nick Bosa.
Yeah, Nick Bosa is probably gonna be after part of the trade. Now, if I'm a Niner fan, I don't see why you would do that.
Hey! Let me give you this. Let me give you this though. The Niners had a top 10 defense without Nick Bosa.
They
The
did.
Chiefs have not a great defense, um, but you know what the difference is? Their difference is their offense, and it's kind of an offense-driven league. I think you give up most of what you can to get a player like Deshaun Watson. Maybe not 4 first-rounders and Nick Bosa, but if you can get that offense going, you can win a Super Bowl. You can get to the Super Bowl now. I think you just need talent on the defense. You need players, but you don't need that one guy on the defense. I think that the Chiefs the last 2 years prove it.
That's definitely a good point. I just believe in it's still a powerful edge rusher kind of league. You see plays made by Frank Clark and Chris Jones. Those guys are dominant on the line. So I think losing Nick Bosa is still a big. I think you look at the last 10 years, there's always been an elite pass rusher on most of those teams, or
Well,
someone
hey,
like
hey, that's what they paid Eric Armstead for, right?
through that.
What a
How
joke.
successful it's been, I don't know.
Let's not slander Eric, though. Eric's a
I
great guy.
you still have the all-pro middle linebacker.
I bet they have a little bit of seller's remorse, though, getting rid of
Both
DeForest Buckner, though. But
for sure.
hey, you don't want to give up on those buff and blue guys, am I right?
Javon Kinlaw's been pretty decent. I mean,
Yeah, he's been okay.
he's not the fourth Buckner. That's 100% for sure.
Yeah, I don't think he ever will be, but who knows?
Who does
All right, so let's dive into the Super Bowl matchup. We got Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes. We have the GOAT. We have as I hate to say it, the mini GOAT right now. I mean, people already, crowning Mahomes as if he beats Brady here, then he's the GOAT. And what do you say to that? Like, it kind of disgusts me right now. I don't like Brady or Mahomes, but just to have those, Mahomes, Brady, GOAT in my mouth, it kind of feels like I need to brush my teeth.
Yeah, I actually think Brady is the GOAT. It's hard to argue that. But I think saying Mahomes is the GOAT is absolute blasphemy. I mean, Mahomes has been literally coddled to success. I hate Mahomes' love. I hate Patrick Mahomes. The guy is probably the most overrated quarterback I've ever seen, other than Tom Brady in his prime. It frustrates me. It frustrates me a lot. I think Pat Mahomes is a product of his offense and his coach more than a product of himself. Not saying he's not talented. Not saying he's
He's
not.
very talented, but I agree. I mean,
I think you put him on the Seahawks, he's winning less games than Russell Wilson. But hey, that's my opinion.
I think you put Deshaun Watson in Mahomes' spot. Where do you think they are? I think they're still in the same
I
Super
agree.
Bowl.
I can agree. I can agree. I mean, Deshaun Watson this season, Deshaun Watson other seasons has been worse than
Yeah,
Patrick Mahomes.
yeah, that's
But
true.
Deshaun Watson this season might have had the best season in all of the league. That includes Aaron Rodgers. The guy is playing with literal garbage as a coach and as a wide receivers, which makes me think, maybe Nick Bosa and 4 first rounders. But hey,
Food
I
for
just don't.
thought.
It frustrates me. I will be cheering for both teams to lose in some fashion. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I know it is frustrating. I think it'll be a good game though. I think the Bucks defense is really fast, pretty talented. I think they match up well with the Chiefs. Remember that game they played? I don't remember. I think week 8 or something, week 9. Uh, Besides that first quarter and Tyreek Hill just absolutely cooking Carlton Davis for breakfast, it went pretty well for the Buccaneers. And I don't
Wow.
think they're going to give up that kind of um, yardage and touchdowns right away.
Yeah. A couple of those drop picks were in that game. Mahomes broke the record for most drop picks in a season. Let's not forget that. More Mahomes slander, please. Hate that guy. But
I
yeah,
hate that guy, but if Mahomes, you want to come on the show, I love you. I love you, brother. We can have catch up. We can talk about
we'll get his brother on the
we'll
show,
talk about
Jackson.
golf. Yeah, let's bring on Jackson. Hey, we're working on our TikTok game. Ryan, if you're still listening, give us some music. We need some live music. We need some intro music, and we need some music for our TikToks. So yeah, I think it'll be we don't like Mahomes, we don't like Brady, but they're both really good. I think if we flip this, we look at the Chiefs defense and the Bucks defense. The Chiefs defense doesn't really have talent, or I mean, they have talent. Obviously, they have some players. They have Chris Jones. Frank Clark's been ass this year. Excuse my language. Um,
Every
but besides that, they don't got many corners and stuff. They don't got many, or they don't got many notable players, right? But they play well.
uh, some people would say it's Tyrann Matthew. I know you disagree with that,
Yeah,
but
no, he's notable. He's notable, no doubt.
yeah,
But I think the Bucks defense, on the other hand, you got a lot of big name players for defense, right? You have JPP, you got Ndamukong Suh, um, Shaquille
Shaquille,
Barrett's kind of made a name for himself. Then you got guys like Devin White,
everyone playmaker, just
Levante
absolute.
David, and all these guys, and even on their back, and they have like Antoine Winfield, who I mean, obviously he's a rookie, but he's already kind of made a name for himself. So you got a bunch of
Maldini.
players back there. You got a bunch of speed, so I think it's a really good matchup. And I usually don't like watching football games where my team isn't playing because I'm a little jealous that the Seahawks could be there, obviously. But I think it'll be a fun game to watch, and I
Yeah,
think I think betting in this game will be fun as well. Um, who do you think scores the first touchdown?
I think it's whoever gets the ball first. To be honest with you, we'll see
You're
who that
feeling a
is.
shootout.
I'm definitely feeling a shootout. It's Mahomes and Brady.
You know what I'm
Sometimes
feeling? I'm
you're
gonna
really
make
anti.
my. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like sometimes they hype up big games like that, and they kind of just turn into ugly games. For example, last week, both sides. I mean, Josh Allen kind of didn't show up to play. Well, not really Josh Allen, but it was just a rough, ugly game. Not a lot of touchdowns, a lot of field goals. It was a lot of touchdown for the Chiefs, and then the Rodgers Brady game was you know a lot of picks, a lot of poor, ugly throws from both sides, and it was weird. It was weird. So sometimes those games can be overhyped, and you never know how they're going to go. But on paper, you'd say that this would be a volatile, high scoring game.
Yeah, I think it might. I think it will be less high scoring than we think. I think the physicality is just unmatched in the Super Bowl, and you got two pretty physical teams. I think that just throws off timing a little bit, throws off you know the synchronization of the offense that is required to perform. Um, one more thing we forgot to mention, and that is playoff Lenny. Playoff Lenny um, has been unstoppable in the playoffs. Playoff Lenny is also known as Leonard Fournette. He's the running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'm really excited to see that guy just cook up the Chiefs, man.
Yeah, future Seahawk. People are putting it together. People are saying Leonard Fournette could be a Seahawk next year. He is a free agent.
I love
And
playoff money on the Seahawks, but only in the playoffs. If we could just sign up for the playoffs, if that's possible, we could just do like a futures contract. Say, hey, we're just gonna sign you $3 million just to play in the playoffs. I wouldn't be opposed. I think when you got a guy like playoff Lenny, it's kind of like LeBron in the playoffs, you know?
I was thinking more like Jamal Murray in the playoffs, but
Oh yeah, that's a fact. Jamal Murray, that's 100% true because Jamal Murray is so overrated, but he shows up in the playoffs, so everyone thinks he's a god. But otherwise, he's really not that great.
I don't know if Leonard Fournette regular season is anywhere near LeBron James regular season.
Yeah, that's true.
But I
But
love that.
playoff Lenny just turns it on in the playoffs. He coasts during the regular year.
He's
So,
he's been so beautiful to watch as a runner, honestly. Poetry in
oh
motion.
yeah, no, yeah, it's like Picasso. It's like Picasso out there. He's painting a route on the field that he's gonna run, and he runs it. He runs it so eloquently.
Yeah, with power too and grace.
Yeah.
That's
So, you got any more? You want to make? Let's make some predictions of the Super Bowl
Oh
before
yeah,
we
no, I
conclude
do have
here.
a question. I want to see who you're cheering for and who you're picking, because those are two different things. You never know.
100%.
It's a tough one to pick to cheer for as a Seahawks fan and as any fan in the NFL, neutral fan. It's tough.
So I
There's two
think,
sides.
yeah. So I think this game is a coin flip. So my inherent um, thought is I think Tom Brady is going to pull it out. And I think it's going to be close to the end though. But I think Tom Brady is going to pull it out. I think they're going to have the last possession, and I think they're going to win because of that. And that's both my prediction and who I think is going to win. I think it's going to be 28. No, let me go 31-28 Patriots on a touchdown. On a
Buccaneers.
touchdown. They were down 28-24. They go and score a touchdown with 20 seconds left. Chiefs don't have enough time. That's it.
Yeah, so you're cheering for the Bucks and you're picking the Bucks.
I'm really not cheering for either team. I'll just be watching the game.
All right.
Probably cheering for the Bucks though, because I feel like Brady's legacy is solidified, and I feel like Russell Wilson is going to have
Couldn't
more
pass.
Super Bowls than Mahomes.
Yeah, I agree. So you know what I saw a lot this week was losing in the playoffs first year, Mahomes Wilson, winning in the playoffs in your second year, then third year playing Brady. Is he going to repeat Russell Wilson? Is he going to throw interception on the 2 yard line? Who knows, man? I mean, the career paths are kind of interjection right now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Russ didn't win MVP, nor did he really break any records. But
Yep. All right. Let me clarify. I meant the Buccaneers,
yeah,
not the Patriots. But so let's open the floor. If anyone has got any final questions before we wrap up the our final episode of the season. And we're going to reopen up in mid-March, launching our official podcast. Spotify, iTunes, we got a blog coming up. We got guests, we got interaction, sponsors. It's all coming up soon, man. It's all coming up soon. You got anything else to say before we drop off for a month and a half?
yeah. I actually forgot to put my prediction out there. I got
Oh yeah, put your prediction out there.
I'm cheering for the Bucks because I agree with you. I hate Patrick Mahomes. He's my least favorite player in the NFL at this moment. And Chancey Gardner-Johnson. Shout out Chancey Gardner-Johnson. I hate you, but if you want to come on the show, we can beef. I'd love to see that happen. I got the Bucks winning it as well, and I think it's actually going to be 42-35. I think we're going to see some Brady magic. That's what I think. I think Pat Mahomes is going to make a couple questionable throws, and well, at least I hope he does make some questionable throws on live television. Maybe some Tyreek Hill screens over 200 yards. Maybe Travis Kelce dominates and he just throws to wide open guys. And that's more likely than Pat Mahomes doing anything great. I forgot what the play is called, the XY, a wasp, the wasp
Wasp.
play. Yeah. That was not Patrick Mahomes being great at all. Can we just point that out? Tyreek Hill is wide open. I'm sorry. Pat Mahomes was so average in that game.
He did not play well. It's a fact.
He frustrated me. They were down 10 because of Patrick Mahomes. So I'm just getting out there. Wasp, he was wide open, and Damian Williams should have been the MVP of that game. But I digress. I'm picking the Bucks 42-35. I think it's gonna be similar to what you're saying. Last possession wins, and I just believe in Brady. I believe in Brady.
Yeah, I mean, who's betting against Brady right now?
A lot of people actually, because he's not favored this time. The other one. Fun fact.
Yeah. Hey, Rohan Wadamo, if you're tuning in ever, you're gonna lose your teasers. So I guess that's all. No more questions. We got one question, a late question coming in from Andrew. Is it true that Shoddy now working for Bevel? Yes, it is true. So Shoddy teamed up with Daryl Bevel and Coach Urban Meyer for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So they're building a little mini Seahawks squad, little castaways, you could call them. We'll see. We'll see if Trevor Lawrence becomes the next Russell Wilson or the next Christian Ponder. Who knows?
Christian Ponder, wow.
But I love Christian Ponder. Great guy. Come on the show, Christian. Let's talk about let's talk about your experience in the NFL.
Yeah,
So
I'm good. I'm ready.
you ready? You ready? All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in today. Have a
Mark
nice
Ball.
week. Have a nice month. Stay tuned for more.